Peace, my brothers and sisters. This is going to be a deep conversation that I really feel called to talk about, and it's centered around the topic of purpose. You know, if there's one thing I realized from just listening to friends and coaching other people is that many of us lack meaningful purpose in our lives. And this leads us to feeling unfulfilled. And by many of us, I mean young adults my age, those in their 20s who might have just finished college, right? Or some of us who feel stuck working at a job that we aren't passionate about. Even those who are older, that are in their 30s, 40s, even in their 50s, still trying to figure it out. And without purpose, deep, meaningful purpose, I love to get deep because as human beings, there's so much depth to us, right? But without a sense of purpose in our lives, we can easily lose ourselves in this world. We can lose ourselves to an identity that we create of ourselves in our own mind. An identity that attaches its sense of purpose to roles we often play in life. For example, the role of a father or mother, many of us, men and women, often play, right? And these roles, we believe our purpose in life is to take care of our children. And we become attached to this belief. But when it's time for our children to leave us and venture into the world as they should, and they no longer need us to help take care of them, we lose that sense of purpose. And what you see is many adults grow depressed because they don't know what to do with their lives anymore. Or they stay attached to the belief that their purpose is to take care of their children, no matter how old they are. And this creates dysfunctional relationships between children who are now adults, like myself, and parents who are still trying to force their ideas on their kids. And in the end, this creates resentment within both sides of the relationship. Right? Another example is the roles we play on a career level. We often become attached to the identity that I am so and so, and my purpose is to do this and that. For example, if a person says, I'm a football player and my purpose is to play in the NFL, that is my purpose. Well, what happens in the event where that ability is taken away, when they're no longer able to play due to an injury? And this is common. You see athletes lose their sense of self and feel lost, unsure about what to do in life, right? And you can apply this to any role we identify with. Now, purpose is not to get confused with vision. Although I believe both are essential for a fulfilling life, vision is more so the what, right? What do you want to create? Purpose is the why. Why do you want to create that thing? Why do you want that job? Why do you want to do whatever it is you envision yourself doing? What is your true meaning behind it? Now, some might say, yo, Jason, it ain't that deep, bro. Like, I just want some money. I just want to buy those sneakers. I just want to experience life more, right? But I say no. Like, it is deep, my brothers and sisters. It is deep. You're just not conscious of the deep purpose behind your decisions. For example, right, the person who says, I just want more money, what they may actually be feeling deep down is, I just want to feel more security because I actually feel insecure. Or for the person who says, I just want those sneakers, what they may actually feel deep down is, I just want to fit in or stand out because I feel insignificant. But if I get those sneakers, everyone will look at me like I'm cool. And for the person who says, I just want to experience life more, what they may actually be feeling deep down is, man, like my life is boring. And I know this all too well because I used to identify with each of these roles, right? I used to identify with each of these beliefs and more, as we often do, right? I used to identify with the position I had at my old 9 to 5, and I believed this was it. Like I said to myself, yeah, I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder, and in a few years I'm gonna be an executive at a big fashion brand because that's what I had gone to school for fashion. And I tied my purpose to the belief that my identity was associated with fashion. But when I lost my job, it felt like I lost a part of myself. And what did I do? Right? The most common thing, go find another job, another role to identify with, because deep down my purpose for doing this, as most of us who seek a job, is comfort. But there's no meaningful purpose in comfort, no fulfillment. You see, greatness lies outside the comfort zone. And I believe we all have the power to be truly, truly great. In fact, I feel like we already are great. We just haven't realized it. And so I took a leap of faith, right? I quit my 9 to 5 with the purpose of starting my own business because I wanted to be rich and independent, right? But little did I know, this decision would lead me down a journey of discovering my true purpose in life, right? But before I jump into that story, I just want to take a moment and break down the actual meaning of purpose so that we can better understand, right? Or should I say, understand what purpose is and what it means to live a purposeful, fulfilling life. And so purpose can be defined as the reason for which something is done, right? Or created, or for which something exists. For example, the reason we do things, the reason we were created, the reason we exist. And purpose can also be defined as have as one's intentions or objective, right? My intention with this video is to send you all a message, and my objective is to inspire you all to think deeply about your purpose in life so that you can experience true fulfillment, lasting fulfillment. Not just the fulfillment that comes from, hanging with your friends on the weekend. And just to be clear, right, there's nothing wrong with enjoying moments with your friends on the weekend, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting more money. There's nothing wrong with buying new sneakers or wanting to experience life more. But these things cannot be the true source of our fulfillment in life. We need to discover our deep-seated purpose so that we can live a life that's aligned with our higher true self, because that's where true fulfillment comes from. And I say deep-seated purpose because I believe the answer It already lies within us. We just have to discover it. We just have to tap into it and embrace it. And I think it's sad that most of us never discover our purpose and the way in which we can uniquely live by it. And I feel like it's partly due to us getting uncomfortable when thinking about the question, what is my purpose? Because the thought of why we do things, why we were created, and why we exist seems so large that we can't really fathom knowing the answer. So we're left questioning. And I also believe it's partly due to the distractions in life that keep us away from getting to know and understand ourselves, to know thyself. Most of us never set intentions or objectives as to why we want to do something. And we confuse whatever it is that we have going on as our purpose, our reason for existence. But I believe purpose is the key. It's the key driving force inside every historical leader, every successful entrepreneur, every talented artist, every elite athlete, and every unique individual. And the difference between those who've discovered their purpose and those who haven't is that those who know it found that discovering their purpose was a process of internal realization and self-sacrifice. This process requires selflessness and the practice of presence. It requires us to listen and pay attention to life and the feelings within ourselves when we feel excited and moved, when we feel inspired and genuinely like ourselves, or when we feel called to something beyond ourselves. And this may require us to go out and try a bunch of new shit in order to really know what it is we love. For myself, the process went from taking a leap of faith and trying something that was completely new, like trying to start a business and build a company, to letting that dream go and realizing that's not what I'm here to do. That's not what God has written for me. As I mentioned earlier, I went to school for fashion and studied fashion for a while, and that's where my passion lied. From high school to college, I saw fashion as a way to really express myself. But it wasn't until recently that I realized that the version of myself that I was expressing through fashion was my insecure self. Like my whole identity was based on the clothes that I wore and how people perceived me based on my outer appearance. And because I was operating out of this unconscious internal dysfunction, I experienced so many blockages when pursuing the idea of building a company in the fashion industry. And for so long, my actions were delaying my own process because deep down, I felt insecure. I felt incapable. I felt unworthy. And so rather than go straight for the goal, I created barriers between myself and the vision. I thought I needed X and Y to get to Z, but in reality, there was nothing more I needed. I just needed to execute. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful because on the journey of trying to feel like I'm ready, I found a new passion. And so when the time came where my co-founder and I was working with a business mentor, and he asked us the question, what problem do you solve? It was hard for me to really come up with an answer that moved me. You know, our answers sounded cool, but I didn't feel passionate enough. It didn't inspire me. And I asked myself, what is my purpose for doing it? Why do I want to build a company in the fashion industry? Because it's cool? You know, and you see, I was no longer the same person who had the vision, and deep down within, I felt called to something else. I just didn't know what it was, but I knew I had to let go of what I thought my purpose was. And ironically, my co-founder felt the same. So we decided to just end the business, and I began to ask myself the question, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? So I asked myself questions like, what are my values? You know, who and what is important to me? What legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to be remembered when I'm gone? How do I want people to describe me? And all these questions provided some clarity of myself, but I still felt unsure about my purpose. And then I started to pray and fast and ask God to show me signs, and I started to experience moments of synchronicity, as if God was communicating directly to me, but I still felt unsure. So I detached my ego and took the I out the equation. I stopped making it about myself. I stopped asking the question, what is my purpose? And I began to ask, what does God want me to do? I started to practice the things I mentioned earlier, like listening and paying attention to life and the feelings within myself. I started to think more selflessly, and that's where I discovered it. It was simple, almost like I already knew the answer. You see, the purpose of my life was to just serve. Like, that's all. To serve others in a way that was unique to me and my gifts and strengths, which happened to be coaching others to realize their creative potential, their higher true self, their high power, just as I did with myself along the journey. And it's a journey that never ends because there's always room to grow. And that's where my fulfillment and passion comes from. You know, evolving to the next level and helping others do the same, because God created each of us as infinite beings capable of so much more than we believe. And so, my brothers and sisters, once again, I want to remind you that my purpose and my intention with this video is to send you all a message. And my objective is to inspire you all to think deeply about your purpose in life so that you can experience true fulfillment, which I truly believe comes from thinking beyond ourselves. Tap in, my brothers and sisters. Peace.